if you want analog, you got it. On the Bocelli concert that I did in Central Park, I didn't want analog. I wanted pristine sound. That is almost all digital. This, I wanted retro because the song is retro. In the analog world, I wouldn't have had a choice. In this world, I do. So finally, I then print this track. And finally, the last thing is this track here. And this isn't set up the way I normally set it up, but who cares? Okay, now no, that's not it. That was, there we are. That's the one. Yeah, okay, Sherry, yeah. Now, this is another box made by Stephen Slate. And what it does is, see the gain control there? One, it allows you to do some more compression. Two, it allows you to add gain. This is the most transparent gain device I've ever used. You can see that I print my mixes very softly because right there is a gain of about 5 or 6 dB. I'm printing 5 or 6 dB below full scale because I don't want to run out of headroom, and I want to give the mastering engineer plenty to work with. But I'm also going to print the mix through this so that the artist, that's what I send to the artist. So they hear what it sounds like, boosted, compressed a little bit, and maybe has that sound that they're looking for. So I don't want to send that to the mastering guy. I'll send it to him so he can hear what we did, but I'm hoping that he's going to take the uncompressed version and use that to do whatever his magic he likes to do. So I print both because it's important that the mastering engineer have enough room to work with, but it's also important that the artist gets to hear something and not have her say, well, I don't know, I have to turn it up. You know, that's a hard thing to do. Turn that knob up a couple of dB. People don't like doing that. They want to leave it at one level all the time. So anyway, that's pretty much the anatomy of the mix and how I operate. Again, like I say, Bocelli would be a slightly different thing, but I still use the same concepts. The idea of splitting things up into small pieces, bringing those pieces together, manipulating those, bringing those to some more buses, and doing it that way, and then combining them all in the end. I try to keep it so it doesn't affect the level too much, but let me get out of preview here. Okay. So, let's see, this way, okay. Suspend groups. Okay. So, let's turn this off. Here's my mix. So there's a fairly, it's a pop dynamic range, but you can hear there's a dynamic range to it. Now this is through, I'll come in a little later here. Anyway, quite a difference in level, obviously, but you still got some of the peaks and valleys and so forth. You still got a sense of what the song is about, and it's more up front, and this is a kind of, but basically that's what mastering is supposed to do. So I'm really cheating a little bit by giving the artist, it's not like I spent a lot of time doing a mastering, but just giving her an idea. This is kind of what it's going to sound like when it's mastered. So, but as far as how it manipulates, hopefully I didn't take too much of the dynamic range out of it while still giving it a lot more level. And that's the trick, is adding the level, not squashing the dynamics. Yeah, this goes back to the other day when I was talking about the drum kit and how one would mic the drum kit. It really depends on the song. Some songs, I have the microphones close. Some songs I have them up high. Always conscious though of where the snare drum is. Sometimes I use cardioid mic for both. Sometimes I use Omni, and sometimes I use ribbon. My favorite mics for overheads are usually either a Sheps, 2 Sheps mics in cardioid overhead. I like a Senken CU44, which is also cardioid, but a big capsule. Sometimes I use the Sheps 100K Omni mics for overheads. And sometimes I use the Coles ribbon mics for overheads. Each one has a different sound. It depends on if it's pop, if it's jazz. I did a couple of years ago, I was working on an album by a band known as Korn. I don't know, you metalheads out there know who Korn is, but Korn is a very heavy metal band. And Terry Bozzio, who some of you may know, was a drummer. Now, Terry Bozzio has about 500 drums in front of him. He has 5 kick drums. He has 32 toms, each one tuned to a different note. He has dozens of cymbals. He has 2 or 3 snares in front of him. And he has a whole setup of gongs and toys behind him. And he's a madman. And I had to mic it like I would an orchestra, basically, because that's what it is. It was an orchestra. When you have that many mics, there are always phase issues. So one has to be very careful. It's when doing lots of mics in close quarters, it's all about polar pattern. It's all about the pattern of the microphone, because every microphone has a polar pattern. The most obvious patterns are the cardioid which means everything coming in the front is recorded, anything coming in the back is rejected, and across the sides, various levels of rejection. It's in between. The omni mic means everything coming in from all directions come in. And finally, you have the figure 8 mic, which means things coming in the back and things coming in the front are recorded, but things coming in the side are not. The interesting thing about the cardioid, the figure 8 mic, is what comes in the back is 180 degrees out of phase with what comes in the front, and you can use that to your advantage. So all those microphones and techniques and all those concepts are always running through the mind when you're miking, especially in close quarters, because there's a rule of thumb in the engineering world. It's called the 3-to-1 rule. You will get phase problems if any microphone is within 3 times the distance. Okay? So let's say you have a microphone here and it's 1 meter away. That's 3 feet, okay? So any microphone within, a microphone 1 foot away, not a problem, but a microphone 2 feet away is, because it's less than 3 times the distance. And so it's going to interact somehow with the microphone. So you have to use all of these little rules to determine how you're going to mic the drum kit or the orchestra or whatever it happens to be. It's a very important issue. Phase and polarity, it's extremely important issues that are oftentimes ignored by people who don't have a lot of experience.